We're live.
Hey everyone, welcome to TTSN, the Transformational Squirrel Network, where we make shift happen. Today, we're excited to introduce to you a great friend, an author, a teacher, a speaker, holistic practitioner, working with psychic mediumship, Reiki, and Lemurian light. And he uses energy to co create a deeper connection to the soul. We want to welcome Hillis Pugh. Hillis, welcome to TTSN.
Hello, Tamala. Hello, Cindy. It's an honor to be here because this has been in the making for a little while. So I'm happy that we finally made it happen tonight.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm excited that you're here. Yes, it has been in the making for a long time because you interviewed me last June. And so there have been some connections along the way. And yes, we're excited to be interviewing you back now on TTSN. So, Hillis, tell us, how did you get to be doing all of these things with energy?
You know, if there is two parts to this interview, it would have to be that because it's that long. But I would condense it for like anyone, we're born. And so we go through our life and we sort through our personal experiences to find what our purpose is. And, my purpose, like anyone, my path, like anyone, was lost in the beginning, trying to find my way, trying to get to find out who is Hillis, right? To find out who this being is. And so it was started back really in 2006 to where I really understood or was understanding the energy of gratitude and really understanding the power of gratitude and knowing that that was my foundation.
Yeah.
And it could be foundation for many others, because that is the foundation of all things that I do. And, learning about that and then moving into the energy of the law of vibration, which the law of attraction comes from. Not many people are aware of that, but that's where it stems from, is that space.
Yes.
And as I learned about that and moving into that, I learned about my innate abilities that I forgot about as a kid, such as my psychic mediumship. And so I had to go to school to fine tune those. And then as I honed in on my psychic abilities, I then became a Reiki practitioner and understanding the energies and symbols and the frequencies and this and that. And as I was going for my Reiki master ship, I was introduced to the Lemurian light energy, which I am very few of. I'm one of like maybe 18, maybe 20 people in the world now that are certified to facilitate this type of energy work. And so it just keeps evolving and keeps going. So I'm excited about what's to come, especially what's been happening since the winter solstice. So it's really interesting in how all of this is coming together for me.
Mhm. That is fantastic. That's wonderful.
There's so many people out there, like I know for myself, that was, you're searching, you're looking, what is it? And is there anything, any kind of tips that you can tell people, as for, like for yourself, you dived into a few different energy modalities, and I know myself and Tamil as well, that's where we started. And is there, some kind of modality, or is there something that you suggest that people start looking at, or is it, how do they tune into what is for them?
Thank you, Cindy. That's an awesome question. And it's interesting because everyone is different. As I teach my clients, everyone is individual. So there is no particular right one for you. When I
Right.
started, just as an example, when I was learning about my psychic mediumship, I learned about it and really mastered that and really began to trust because I found out that I was clairaudient, as most people are clairvoyant, so they see. So I hear spirit before I see or feel anything. And so it just really evolved from that space. So then when you build a relationship or trust with that particular modality, with that particular energy, then it evolves from there, which, took me to a path of me being a Reiki practitioner because I never thought that I would be a Reiki practitioner. I just thought I would be a psychic. But as you move through the different energy fields, the energy modalities to be of service to other people, you find that everything kind of just goes hand in hand anyway. There's no one thing.
Mhm.
And so that's why I call myself a soul mentor and energy facilitator, because that's pretty much what I do. As one of my friends said, she calls herself a soul tour guide. And so you just on this journey to really find out who you really are. And so that's what it is.
Mhm. Nice. And so I know we'll have lots of people wondering, as Cindy and I were wondering, what is a Lemurian light worker?
One who illuminates.
One who illuminates. Fantastic.
But in all honesty, and actually it is one who illuminates, and that's with all energy work that anyone does, is one who does really illuminate, one who does really shine the light upon, someone who's at reflection. But to drill down to what is a Lemurian light worker, so the origin of this particular modality is from Sirius, for those who believe, going out to the stratosphere, going out to the universal galaxies and beyond. So it is modality from there. And so the teacher who taught me this particular modality, he guided me as I was, when you are in alignment with somebody, you just drawn to each other. And so we connected, and so he taught me how to really assist and be of service to someone by helping them to release their shame, trauma, pain, guilt, any of the lower vibrating frequencies in which you feel stuck in. And so part of what I do is to help move those energies through this particular modality, through way of frequencies, through way of symbols, through planetary energies, through many means, by connecting with your soul and having the permission of my client soul to be of service to them, to help clear and release this particular stuck energy. Because right now there's a lot of stuck energy being moved, and some people are like, what do I do? And
Yes.
so it's my joy to be of service to help move that.
Yeah. There is so
Beautiful.
much stuck energy right now, right? And boy, it's moving.
And we
Wow.
add a full moon to it
And
tonight.
Yes.
yes, yes, yes. How fantastic that we're talking to you on a full moon,
That's perfect.
and you are illuminating us and others, right? You're lighting us up. So
Yeah.
how fantastic is that?
It is,
Wonderful.
and one of the things I do on full moon is do my full moon meditation. Where I sit in such a wonderful space to send out energy. Because one of the things that I recently discovered about myself is that I have given up the title of being a light worker. I don't
Okay.
consider myself a light worker. I am, aside from, being soul mentor and energy facilitator, I am a light transmuter.
Ah.
Mm,
Can you
beautiful.
explain that?
So it's simply put as one who transmutes light, one who transforms light, one who transforms energy. And that's part of my role, part of my purpose that I discovered, being here and surfing through all the
Mm.
different energy modalities, and figuring out what suits Hillis, what is his purpose, and really stepping into this. And so, you know, as I'm sure you all have figured out, or have heard, oh, I'm a light worker, oh, I'm a light worker, oh, I'm a light worker. And I'm like, light worker, what does that really mean? And
Right.
so it really got to a point where it's like, I am not working at anything. I am not doing anything. I am helping to transmit, to change, to shift. And that just didn't sit with me. And so light transmitter came first, being a beacon of light. And then light transmuted soon followed to one who shifts and transforms. So yeah, I mean, I'm shifting and transforming all the time. So why not help others transform and shift as well?
Hey, That sounds just like us, the
Hey,
transformational squirrel network where we make shift happen.
yeah. So you two are
That's
like transmuters, why not?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Squirrel
absolutely.
transmuters.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Change your perspective a little, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Indeed.
So the power of gratitude. That's something that's we talk about often on our show, and I know that that's something that's near and dear to you too. Can you tell us a little bit about why it's so important to you and just explain about gratitude for us?
Now you're gonna make me get all emotional, maybe a little bit teary-eyed, because
Ah,
as I, mentioned before, that gratitude is, where I started my journey. Gratitude is that foundation for me personally. And earlier today, I gave part one of my masterclass on Clubhouse, where I talk about gratitude, and it is everything to me. And the reason why it's so near and dear to me is because, it's one of those things that we often take for granted because, growing up, we are taught that gratitude is our mannerisms, it's our, how we talk to people, please, thank you, and all these niceties that we do. But gratitude is a prayer. Gratitude is an offering. And when you step into that heart space energy of an offering, then we can allow ourselves to be open to receive what we have asked for. And what I want to express here was I'm being guided to express here at this moment that a lot of people, you know, have what I feel in this moment is there is shame in asking for what you want. And this shame is blocking the heart space to allow you to receive. So when you're in that authentic, genuine space of allowing yourself to express the genuine gratitude, then you allow yourself to be open because I mean it is what it is, and just allow yourself to be open to the prayer, the energy of gratitude, as it is, the foundation of all things.
I love that you talk about the heart space because that's so profound because gratitude, it's a feeling, it's a vibration, right? And so it's a frequency. And so when we talk about gratitude, as you were saying, that it goes way back. That's what we've been taught is, please and thank you and all of these great little things, right?
Right.
But it truly is something that you feel in your body. And, we've been taught to be up here, and now it's a shift, of moving into here. And is there anything else that you can speak to with that, like with the law of attraction, vibration, frequency of
I could
gratitude?
speak about this all day.
Yeah, I figured you could.
And so the interesting aspect about this is that there is a Quechua word from the Andean culture that is ani, and that is spelled Ayni. And this particular word means the reciprocity of energy, the exchange of energy. And so when this culture, the Andeans and the Aztecs and the Mayans, and these civilizations, when they offered the energy of things, when they offered the energy of gratitude for the land, for the food, for their people, for whatever, that the universe heard this. I mean, there was ceremonies built around gratitude. There was ceremonies built around this energy. And I'm not sure if people who are watching now partake in any form of plant medicine, but even plant medicine ceremonies have their foundation in this energy, this prayer, this energy of exchanging this energy. And so when it is given, when you offer this energy, when you offer this prayer, when you send up this energy, it all comes back to you. And how it ties into the law of vibration, the law of attraction, how it ties into that is because like energy attracts like energy. So when we offer this prayer, when we offer this energy of thanks, then we are saying, I'm happy and grateful for this home. I'm happy and grateful for this car to drive. I'm happy and grateful to have food in my belly. I'm happy and grateful for the money to buy this food. When you have that, it is saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So the universe hears that and it yields to you. So you can receive more of what you receive to do with what you wish, what you being asked to do with it for.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. And when you talk about having gratitude for things and you feel that energy, you feel grateful for it, it brings you so much more to be grateful for
Yeah,
because again the universe is bringing that to you more. You talked about some different cultures that have used this all along and have really embraced, and that's just who they are. And I know there's a culture who they will also, if somebody's hurting or if somebody has done something wrong that in our society we would feel shame for, they actually circle around that person and praise them for all of the good things that that person has done in their life. So it chases away anything that's negative and brings back the good to them. So they're literally giving that person positive energy to keep moving through whatever negative it was. And so it's another form of gratitude, is giving to somebody else.
yes, and I love that. And I believe I once I believe it's a Somalian tribe in Africa, but I know it's in Africa where I've seen this, and that is
Yeah.
beautiful that we get as a Western society, that we get so bogged down by, oh well, you did that, playing this blame and shame game,
Right.
and so we get caught up in that, and then we forget the individual who is being blamed or shamed forgets about all the good that they've done because it's
Mhm.
just a pile on. And so, yeah, that's a good thing that we have to move back into the energy of remembrance.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Remembering the good that you've done, remembering. And I know for me, and looking back, having gone through a lot of depression and anxiety, it did take remembering and
Yeah.
reminding myself that person that I was, or that was inside of me that I wasn't recognizing. That's always been there, right? It
Yeah,
took me, with my sticky notes around my mirror with the um, I am enough, I am whole, I am perfect, putting that energy out there and finally saying those things to myself and really truly then embracing and believing that and knowing that I am all of those things. And my mirror, those sticky notes are still around my mirror, and if I'm ever having a rough day, I go and I look at those and remind myself where I've come from, how far I've come, and just how important I really am, right? And so again, putting that gratitude, putting that energy out there.
yeah, I
And it
remember.
never hurts. Oh, sorry, Hillis, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I remember the story of the sticky notes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It never hurts to have a support system around you as well, right? Because there are times when a person, gets stuck or gets lost in some of those old beliefs that
Yeah.
can just grab you and hold you, right? And so not only trying to transmute it yourself, but also reaching out to others like yourself, Hillis, that does some soul searching with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment here. Full moon energy and everything else. So, you know, those who call or label themselves as healers, I don't, that's one label that I don't use. And I'll get into that later if you want. But those who didn't have that support system, for those who have the courage and bravery to go within and to see what it is that they had to remember, whether it was this lifetime or others before, that there's great energy and power in that,
Mhm.
to recognize who you are, to recognize that you are your source of strength. And yes, it is okay to look outside of yourself at times for validation, but
Right.
know that the true validation is the power that you have to have the courage to go within to face uh, the the dark, the fear, everything that you uh, were told not to. So
Right.
yeah, I just felt like I had to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm glad that you did because it's so true. I know for myself, I looked outside of myself for years and years, and I think that's hence the doing the modalities, right? Taking those courses and working
Mhm.
through all these modalities, trying to figure it out, right? Trying to find, okay, well, maybe this person knows, or that person, or this training, or this, and nothing ever shifted until I sat in my own shit and figured it out, right? That's basically where you got to go
Yeah.
because you're the only one that can do it. Um, yeah,
You are.
it's big
You can
stuff.
have all of the supports around you, but you're the one that has to do the work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm going to
definitely.
be real vulnerable right now.
Okay.
Uh, I'm in the midst of learning a new technique that my teacher of the Lemurian Light showed me. And she said, in order to do this technique, when you do it, you have to have no fear, no doubt, none of that. And I'm executing in different parts, but not as a whole as of yet. And so this particular technique, it brought up triggers in me about literally being afraid of the dark as a kid. And so, and I've been thinking about this, like, what is it going on? So I've been sitting with myself for almost a week now, just sitting in it, understanding where this fear is and where it's taking me, and understanding that I am one of the 144 Earth angels that have been sit here, understanding this energy and understanding all the lifetimes I lived and pinpointing each one where there was darkness that I was afraid of and sitting through that. And so when there is something that you are afraid of, when there's something that you don't understand, just allow yourself to sit in it, to feel it, to acknowledge it, because that's what it is. It wants to be loved in that place. And that's the simplest way for anybody, one who's in that space right now, is to love the fear, so to speak.
Yeah, so true. I remember Jeff Foster. I don't know if you've ever followed him. He speaks to this, where we have all these emotions and they're just like our children. And, joy will come running in and knock on the door and you let them in and you're so excited to see them. And then, anger will come to the door and you'll be like, you open the door and you slam it and you say, get out of here. I don't want to see you, or, or fear or whatever. Right. And we close the door to these emotions, and all of these things are all part of us. Right. And we just have to be with them. That's it. That's all they want, and so thinking of it, the little mind shift of thinking of it as that is just a feeling. That is something that is moving through, and it's okay to be there, right? It's so profound when you do that mind flip, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And we've been trained, it's been entrained within us that a certain feeling is associated with bad or a certain feeling is associated with good,
Mm-hmm.
when and it's not necessarily that that feeling, had you not known, had somebody not told you, oh well, oh, you look like you feel angry, that
yeah,
that's a bad thing. Well,
Right,
you might not have associated that way if you hadn't been taught that, right?
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Who
No,
says it's good or bad?
Yeah.
yeah. It's very powerful, the experiences that we have
Hmm.
that create the thought processes.
Hmm.
One of the things that come to mind, and I'm sure you guys heard of this, is this thing of spiritual bypassing,
Mm.
where we just
Speak
don't,
to it.
yeah, where we just don't, where we skip past all the emotions that make us feel bad and just get to all the good stuff. But who doesn't want all the good stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then there's the duality, right? Like if you didn't have the bad, you wouldn't know what good felt like. It would be
Right.
like it would be like here in Canada when it's 35 below, we if we didn't know 35 below, we wouldn't appreciate summer just as much as we do, right?
No
Wait,
kidding.
I lived in Chicago for 30 something years. I'm in Florida now. I do not miss it at all.
But you
I
probably
bet.
appreciate the sun and the warmth of
Oh
that
yeah.
much more
Oh
than
yeah.
you would
No
have,
kidding.
right?
Oh yeah. Very much so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to dig a little bit into seeing beyond the physical realm.
Hmm.
I'd love for you to share some of that with us, Hillis.
You know, it's the energies of the day are just so uh, cooperative in a sense that the planetary energies and this new Aquarian energy, this divinity that is happening. And I'm sure that you all are witness to that, everyone is witness to that, everyone is feeling. And that, all I can feel is goodness. All I can feel is joy, even though there's so much chaos and so much hurt and so much mistrust and so much anger and so much frustration, all this collective energy. And for weeks, being an empath, all I could feel was the collective energy. And one of my early teachings, one of the things that I taught myself by being in plant medicine ceremony, is to understand what are my feelings and what someone else's. And so that's a big part of where we are right now, is to fully understand, even though there is no thing in separation, but you are what you are your own individual having a collective experience. And one of the
Right.
things that I am guided to share with you is recently I've always wanted a Hawaiian umbrella bonsai. Always wanted one. So I got one a few weeks ago. And I'm thinking it's going to be a little, just as easy to take care of it as some of my other, succulent plants. I was wrong. I was so wrong. It's not as high maintenance, but there are some little tips and tricks, and it's dying. It's like, what do I do? What do I do? It's like I haven't overwatered it, I haven't underwatered it, reading all these videos, looking at all this stuff, and I'm like, is it getting enough light? And so recently, because they talk, and some
Yeah.
one of my friends made something. He's like, yeah, you have the fairy language. You can talk to fairies and plants and things. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so I felt how I felt how sad it was, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? And so I got a grow light for it, and so I have the grow light for 2 days now, and I feel the energy is shifted in the plant. And I say that in analogy and metaphor for that. Yes, we are in this dark, we're in this ugly period, and there is part of us that's dying. There's part of us that's grieving. We're all in this lower vibration frequency, but that's okay, because once we allow more light, we'll feel a lot better.
Mhm.
Right. So beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I
and we
know.
just,
Go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead, Cindy. Go ahead. Mhm.
um, I forget what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Jeffrey Allen, I was listening to him one day and he was talking about, you know, yes, now is a time of change. And this was right before or just shortly after COVID started. And he said, there's going to be a period where it's going to be big change and people are going to be uncomfortable. And you can choose to go kicking and screaming and buck everything that comes up and be upset about it. Or you can choose to just ride the wave of it and know that there will be an end And you can decide which you want to do, if you want to live it angrily, frustrated, or if you want to live it happily. And so you pick. And he
Right.
said, but there will be an end, and there will be, it's not that far off. So it was is kind of one of those things of, you can do anything for 10 minutes, and be happy about it. It's kind of the same thing, only it's just an extended period. You get to choose how you feel about it and how you react to it, and the energy that you put out there. And if you're putting out negative energy, those vibrations, keep the vibration of the planet lower longer. But if you put out happier energy, and you're smiling at people, and you're walking around and talking to people, and you're being jovial about life in general, then that's going to raise that vibration, and it will happen quicker.
Yeah, I mean, especially now in this Aquarian energy, as we're moving from 3D to 4D into 5D, things are going to happen much quicker,
Yeah.
especially when you become emotionally in alignment with that. I mean, if you're going to be angry, you're going to be angry faster and then maybe longer. So yeah, it's just like a show. You just have to create what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that
Right.
we're moving into is this mastery. So we have to learn to be masters of what we create.
Right.
And I think the big thing that we find frustration with is we've never, in the culture, the society that we've all grown up in, we've never actually had the time to sit with ourselves, and that's what's happening now. The whole world has to sit with themselves, most of the world anyway. There's still some people working, but a lot of us are having to sit and be alone with your thoughts, be alone with you. And that's what we're resisting. That's what we're kicking and screaming about. We're like almost like a bunch of rowdy teenagers, right? Not getting their way. And so it's time to, be with ourselves and really discover what those feelings are. And that leads back to what you were saying before, Hillis, about how we are here having a collective experience, but we each individually have to do the work on ourselves, right? We each individually have to work through the stuff that is presented to us. And it's beautiful as you do, and as you can. It's so profound as we all are growing and becoming lighter. It's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic.
Oh, it certainly is. Hillis, I want you to talk a little bit about the things that you do. So you have an incredible show,
Yeah,
that
Mm.
so can you tell us a little bit about that, and a little bit about the work that you do with individuals?
definitely. But I have to say, I love your T-shirt because I'm looking. I'm like, I noticed it early, but I'm like, wait. Sometimes I get distracted. I'm like, yes, that's so true. As
Ah,
we all do, as we all, especially now, we are all finding ways to get ourselves distracted. And an amazing distraction is actually a show that I have co-created with Rebecca Gregory. It's called Cosmic Insight. And it's interesting how this show developed because Rebecca Gregory had her own show on Oneness Talk Radio, and it was called and I know I always mix it up, but it was called the Cosmic Happy Hour Tune-Up. And I loved her show, loved her energy, and it was just one of those things that you just kind of mash it up. And then my show, which was just audio only podcast, was called Light Insight. And so Rebecca and I met in New York about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, at a sound healing concert. And uh, I'm not going to get too much into the story, but when you meet another angel, when you meet another soul being, you just know. And so we met and we just knew that we were going to be friends. And so, she was on my show a few times, I was on her show a few times. And so this just evolved into us taking our names and creating Cosmic Insight. And the day that we came up with the name, she was looking through oh, geez, a book. I can't think of the name of the book, but she was going through a book, and the word uh, phrase cosmic insight showed up in the book, and it had Metatron's cube in it. So we took it
Oh,
as a
yeah.
sign, like, yes, this is meant to be. This is for us. This is what we're going to do. And so it just kind of evolved into this organic thing, and one of the things that I'm most grateful for the show is that one of the people who I look up to, one of the people who helped to catapult me on my path, and he knows it now because I told him, was Neil Donald Walsh. I mean, I
Yes.
got to interview him for the show, and that
Right.
was like,
That's like,
Yeah,
what?
that's
Right?
incredible. Yeah.
Like, holy cow.
yeah.
Yay.
And I will say that interviewing him was an amazing experience, and he is the most humble being you will ever meet on the planet.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, he is so humble. I mean, it was,
Hmm.
I aspire to be as humble as he one day. But in regards to part two of your question, other things that I do, it honestly really depends on the day. Because, there are times where I haven't written anything in a while, but, I write mostly poetry. Most of it is unpublished. But I do that to help lift other people up. That's actually how I started doing all this work is through poetry, is by letting other people that they are not alone on their journey. And so some of it is self-reflective, some of it's based on, mood changes and shifts. You ever had an angry poet and somebody who ever writes a poem about you, that was probably me. Having or joyful experiences. So my poetry is very emotional in that sense. But what I do for my clients, is what I enjoy the most these days is being of service, is to helping other people, guide them on their path, guide them on their journey to release the law of vibrating energies. And notice I hardly ever say the word negative because there's nothing negative. It's just high and low. And so the negative lower vibrations, pain, shame, trauma, guilt, all are root causes to some of the symptoms that we face, such as, some of the ones I just mentioned, but, people who are overeaters, or some people who are, you know, people who have low self-esteem and all this other stuff. So it's all these symptoms that are out there that are just root causes of things that happened to them when they were kids. And that's what I do. I mean, I really help people discover the root causes of their traumas, of their pains, of their shames, and anything that holds them in that stuck energy. And I guide them through that to connect to their soul, to help them to realize they are worthy, that they chose to be here doing this stuff, to help them remember who they are and the support system that they have within them and around them, seen and unseen. And so it's not, when I say soul mentor, I say it to the point where I physically actually mentor their soul on the energetic level, to where I help them to commune with their soul, to talk to them, because that's the source of their power. That's where they are. And move them into translating that into a physical form to assist them, because I don't do any of the healing.
Right.
I just allow the energy and guide the energy to where it needs to go. Because, just imagine, you're a kid and you're learning how to do all of this. You're X-Man and you're learning how to, use your powers, and you lose control. And I'm like Professor X. I'll help guide you to help uh, control that, to step into that, to really understand how that moment feels when you say, I can do this. And it's not as hard as I thought it was.
Right. Fantastic.
Nice. So is there any advice that you would have for people right now that are struggling, with the current events that are happening in the world? And it seems, we're being restricted more and more all the time, which, for some people that's causing them to having a lot of grief, right? Lockdowns in some places are, being locked down for the second time. And is there anything that you can say to help people with something like that?
Yeah, thank you, Cindy, for that. There are actually a few things that I recommend. One of my favorite things that I like to do, I don't do it as much as I used to because it's just secondary. It became like a natural process for me. But one of the things that I started out doing in the beginning was gratitude rampage or thank you rampage, to where you find time for yourself and you sit in meditation on a quiet spot. It could be 10 seconds, it could be 30 seconds, it could be a minute, it could be 5, 10 minutes, however long you want it to be, because this is your time. And you can say, thank you for having this roof over my head. Thank you for the food that I have to eat today. Thank you for me being safe and well with my family and friends. Thank you for allowing me to have the technology to communicate with those who I love. Thank you for those who are reaching out to me because I love them. So it's like you can go on and on and on. And as you can see, I just was about to go, and I'm like, nope, bring myself back and bring it in. So it's
Right.
just that easy to step into that place of gratitude, into that place of appreciation. But if
Right.
you are finding yourself going in a spiral and going down and just really filled with stress, anxiety, fear, really down deep into those trenches, and acknowledge that. Acknowledge the grief. I know it can. I know it's tough. I mean, heck, there are times I still, being of the modalities that I do, there are still times where I feel grief. And not saying that, I'm just like you. I just know how to navigate it a little bit better. But yeah, acknowledge the grief, feel the grief.
Mm-hmm.
And once you allow yourself to feel it and honor that, to love that, it's like, wait, this is what it feels like on the other side.
Right.
And then you step into the energy of joy, you step into the energy of appreciation. And I say the best way to step into that grief is to sit. And you don't necessarily have to meditate. You can go outside, smoke a cigarette. You can go outside, do whatever your vice is, because that's your time. That's your quiet time. I'm not, having you do some full moon ritual where you light a candle, sit down in meditation, take a long hot bath, whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah. Right.
Sit with it, honor that. And so once you do, then things will become clearer.
Right.
It's there's no one thing, there's no one answer. You just do what suits you. Because what I say may not resonate with you, but maybe some part of what I'm saying you can feel
Mm-hmm.
and know it is true.
And I think I'd like to add a little bit to that. Um, protecting, protecting your own energy and where you're at, from if taking note, like if it's the news that is sending me on that spiral, shut the bloody thing off, right? Like, why am I watching the news then? Or
Yeah.
if going to see, your Aunt Betsy and that's all she wants to talk about, then don't go see Aunt Betsy as much anymore. Like those kind of things to really tune in. That's where
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to start tuning into me and what I need, right? And
Right.
and that's why we're in this position right now, so that we have that chance. We don't have to do what we've done forever. We can change. We can change a lot of things. We can change ourselves completely if we want to, and that's what this quietness is giving us, to allow for change, which is awesome and it's inevitable. And let's just embrace it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
right?
beautiful. Wow. Yeah, don't follow the triggers. And I'm glad you brought that up, Cindy, because one of the things that I have taught and will continue to teach, and one of my secrets, I usually only teach this in my seminars, is this thing that I call trigger mapping. And so it's a really simple exercise for everyone to do. So what you do is you take, and it's like brainstorming, to give the analogy. What you do is you take a piece of paper, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You just write down the emotion, and then this example would be anxiety. So you have your emotion, and then what you do is you either write down or connect all the events or experiences that you can recall that cause your anxiety, such as waiting in line at Starbucks, or sitting in traffic, or waiting for an elevator, or waiting to get that call back to see if you got that job, or checking your email to see if the check is coming in the mail, anything that has created anxiety for you, list it. And then after you list those trigger experiences, then what you want to do is you want to associate an age with it. So let's say, you were 15, when you first got into a car accident that caused distress and anxiety. So it's like you trace it all the way back that far. Now, once you associate the age with these experiences, you then can see the root cause yourself, to see what the original root cause of that particular anxiety trigger is. Then you have something to allow yourself to feel, to connect with, and then eventually let go of.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Yeah. Awesome
is.
exercise.
Mm-hmm. And when you muscle test, you can muscle test to figure out if you need to go further back as well. So when you get to the point where you think, okay, this must be the point, the very first time that I felt that anxiety, and you can muscle test if you need to go back further to a younger age, or if you can stay there and use that one. And it really, it adds a little bit to it so that you know that you actually are at the right starting point. So, yeah. You were talking a little bit earlier about the different emotions, and I was reading, or have read and have listened to um, something about the different frequencies that the emotions are attached to, and guilt and shame are truly the lowest frequency that you can get, and gratitude is the highest.
Yes. And actually, if you don't mind, I just want to express that a little bit. And so when you speak of guilt and shame, it's on the same frequency as fear,
Mm-hmm.
because they are tied to that frequency as well. Because it's like, okay, if you have guilt or shame, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of expressing? Are you afraid of allowing yourself to be seen? And then when you step into gratitude, appreciation, and love, they too are on the same frequency, because those are the most high. It's like, I love myself, I appreciate this, I love this, thank you for that. So you're in this flow. But like you talked about earlier, the contrast of you having that 35 below degree weather and then the summer. So it's like you have to allow the contrast
Right.
to know what you appreciate even more.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk a little bit about linking an emotion, linking an incorrect emotion to an event.
Ooh.
So, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and it's
Put you on
interesting,
the spot.
because that is, I have to, I have to sit up for that when I was like kind of like feeling in the flow, like, wait, now you have my attention. And so I have to explain it this way so people can understand. So when you say this, it kind of goes back to the formula that I've created for manifesting, which are thoughts plus emotion plus words equal to manifestation. And so when you have the thought, we have up to anywhere from 80 to 100,000 thoughts a day. So just imagine every thought you have is neutral. Every single thought you have is neutral. But it's the experience, the emotional content of that experience that gives the thought the fuel, that gives it that label to say yes, no, good, bad, evil, don't ever do it again. Yes, I'm going to do it again. So it's like all of these things. And so when you have an association of an experience with a label, it definitely has to have come from something that your parents have taught you, or someone who you have trusted, a sibling, a parent, anyone you have trusted to give you that. And so you have to first look at the source of whatever that experience was. Sometimes some of the examples I use is, when you're a kid, you were always taught, never to touch a hot stove. But our curiosity always got the better of us, and we touched it anyway. So we would have to learn through our own experience that what's bad is bad and what's good is good. But sometimes in those experiences, we just take the word of someone else. We gotten them punishment so many times that we just have to take that, our parents or our siblings word, or our sibling has done this. And so it's like, that whatever trauma that it could be connected to, because that's ultimately what it is. When you have an association to a particular event or disassociation, it's because of the experience that is tied to. And so then you have to create a disassociation from that to create a whole new experience. It's like, learning to walk all over again.
Right.
Absolutely.
And breaking through the fear.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I did that a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. Do you want to share?
Yeah. I went skydiving for the first time ever because I had a fear of heights. So that
Awesome
was
for
me
you.
breaking through my fear of heights. And it's like, I'm going to go back and do it again. It was scary as all get out, especially when you're like almost 14,000 feet in the air. And then you free falling at 120 miles per hour for 1 minute. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah,
Awesome.
it was my first one, so it was a tandem one. So I have about maybe 4 more before I can do by myself. Probably be the true test.
Oh, wow. That
For
will
sure.
be exciting. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Hillis, is there anything else that you would like to let our listeners know?
Well, if anyone has any questions about today, they can definitely feel free to find me on social media, or they can connect with me directly at hillispugh.com. That's HILLIS at HILLISPUGH.com. There you can find it all about me, what I'm doing, what I'm not doing, uh, all my modalities. But I just want people to know that I'm here to be of service to them, because, what I do, this work that I've chosen to do is to help raise consciousness and the vibration of others. And that's my purpose. My purpose is to be of service to you, and it brings me so much joy to do that. And as we move through this time here on our planet, we have to really allow ourselves to feel what we have to feel, to move up through the different energies, through the different dimensional spaces, and just breathe through it all. It's it's an amazing time that we're in right now, and we all just have to don't force anything. Just go with the flow. If you just want to rest and do nothing, do so. If you just want to go out for a bike ride or go to the gym, do whatever makes you feel good in that moment. Because that's what we're all here for now, is to really be in the flow.
That's awesome.
Love it.
And as you said that, I'm getting a little bit of a ringing in my ear that's going whoosh right through. So somebody's here speaking to me and pointing out that what you're speaking is absolute truth. So that's awesome. So thank you so much. So, at the end of TTSN, every episode, what we do is we do 10 little quick shot questions that we just want you to answer really quickly, whatever comes to your mind.
Okay.
And so the first one is, if you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
I guess if I have to go with an actual animal, I guess it would be a lion, I guess. Because the lion is a natural leader, but yet he knows how to allow himself to have his presence, but yet be calm and just be, But my actual answer would be a dragon.
And that's
Nice.
okay. That would work too.
Yeah. That's an actual animal, isn't it?
Well, sure.
Well, oh yeah, Komodo dragon, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
Or
I'm
a
a
sea
dragon because
dragon.
I'm loyal and fierce.
Nice.
There you go.
I love that.
Nice.
What's your favorite cartoon character?
Oh geez. Right now, I guess it would be Batman. No, always Batman.
Always Batman.
Always.
Always.
Do you have any quirks?
I guess so. Yeah. I don't know what they are right now, but I know I have some.
Okay. I won't make you think. What's the first thing you do when you get out of bed?
Meditate.
Excellent. If you were a fly on the wall, if you could be a fly on the wall anywhere in the world, where would you be?
Versailles in Paris.
Oh, nice. If you could add one person to Mount Rushmore, who would it be?
I guess the person that I interviewed who brings the world to me right now, Neil Donald Walsh.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
That's fantastic. When you dance, who do you look like, or what do you look like?
Someone who's having fun.
Awesome.
Hey.
What is the last spontaneous thing that you did?
Going to go skydiving.
Ah, yes. Your best
That was,
feature?
I'm sorry?
Your best feature? What's your best feature?
Oh, wow. Personality,
Nice. And what makes you smile?
joy.
Perfect. Now, Cindy has one last question for you.
If you were able to stand on a mountaintop and the whole world could hear you, what would you say?
Love each other.
Beautiful.
Isn't that what it is? That is
Mhm.
all that it needs to
That's
be.
simple.
It is. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So, and if you want to get in touch with Hillis at all, want to learn where to get in touch with him, we'll have those posted in the comments below on Facebook. And we will also have them posted on when we have our R3, our Real Revolution Radio. We'll have the links all posted in there as well. And so we are signing off now from TTSN. We want to wish you all a great rest of your week and blessings. And we look forward to seeing you here next week. So we'll chat soon.